Howdy! Welcome to Aspire Mountain Academy. I'm Professor Curtis, your instructor for this course in Introductory Statistics. In less than 10 minutes, this video shows how to make and use Pareto charts. Let's get started. Pareto charts are like histograms, but with one important difference. The bars are arranged in descending order according to count. You can make these with frequency counts or relative frequency percentages. It doesn't matter. The effects are still the same. Organizing the categories or classes in order from highest to smallest is what makes all the difference, as you'll soon see. You must arrange the bars in descending order. So, the highest count goes on the left, so here our highest count here goes right here on the left, and then the next highest count goes next to it, the next highest next to it, so on and so forth. So, when you do that, you get the shape of a graph that starts high and eventually comes down to the lowest value there on the other side of your graph. Now, Pareto charts are based on the Pareto principle. You might know this by its more popular name, the 80-20 rule. For those of you not in the know, here's the skinny on the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule says about 80% of your results will come from about 20% of your efforts. It's called the Pareto principle because it's based on the work of an Italian economist named Fredo Pareto. Now, in 1896, this Pareto guy published a paper in which he described his observations of this 80-20 proportionality playing out all over the place. For example, he noticed that about 20% of the population in his home country of Italy owned about 80% of the land. He also noticed that about 20% of the pea pods in his garden produced about 80% of the peas. And he looked at all sorts of different scenarios and found this 80-20 proportionality repeating itself over and over again. What makes the Pareto chart so special is that it helps us to identify the vital few that produces the vast majority of our results, the 20% going in that produces 80% of what's coming out. In this example Pareto chart here, okay, you're looking at different spending sources, okay, so areas that is costing a particular business money. Management wanted to know how to reduce costs, so someone collected data and made a Pareto chart. Now, it's easy to see which areas will yield more cost savings for your effort. In this case, it's clearly parts and materials and manufacturing equipment. Those are the two big ones there. You could look at cost savings by reducing benefits and pensions, but it won't make much of a dent, okay, because it's not that high up in your expenses, as negotiating a lower price on parts and materials. Okay. Now, I can't begin to overstate how extremely useful Pareto charts are. I use them all the time working in industry. We would, for example, collect frequency count data on different failure modes or ways the equipment we manufacture could fail, and then make a Pareto chart from the data. Instantly, we could see where to focus our limited resources of time, money, and manpower to get the most return in customer satisfaction. You'll see in the real world, if you haven't seen already, how limited you always are. And that's what makes Pareto chart so great. It shows you where to get the most bang for your buck. Now, you can make Pareto charts in StatCrunch. Let's watch a short demonstration of how to do that for the heights of elected U.S. presidents using the POTUS data file in our StatCrunch group. Okay, here we are in the POTUS file in our StatCrunch class group. And we're going to make a Pareto chart from the height measurements of elected U.S. presidents. To do that, we're going to pretend like we're just making a bar chart. So we'll go to Graph, Bar Plot with Data. But there's one important difference, and that is that you have to organize the data from highest to lowest value. So we'll start off by putting our column here where our data is located. We'll select that. And then when we come down here to order by, this is the important part. You have to select Count Descending. Now I've got everything I need to compute, and lo and behold, here's my Pareto chart. Hope that helps you. Okay, here's a summary of what we just did. So if you prefer this as a guide to what we just saw in the video, you can pause this video right here and use this guide to help you construct your Pareto chart. Now, there's an important feature here that will help you interpret your Pareto chart. Notice how the data appears in tiers that create plateaus when you look at the tops of the bars. Many real-world data sets produce this effect when placed in a Pareto chart. These are the areas you want to look for because they separate out the noise, what you should ignore because it's just distraction, from the signal or the message that deserves your attention. In this case, I would look at the first 3 data columns. Okay, so it's just taking this first plateau. Look at this first 3 data columns. What makes these 3 different from the rest? What do these 3 have in common? Okay, answer those questions and you have a great starting point for investigating what role, if any, height plays in the election of U.S. presidents. And that brings us to the end of this mini lecture. I hope you found it helpful. You can find more mini lectures for this and other courses at AspireMountainAcademy.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.